Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of SEPA Paranormal Chronicles. Tonight, I'm delighted to have the Black Lantern Paranormal group from Gettysburg, and we have Jordan Wave. We have Nick Wave, and then we have Travis. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us, Lee.
You're most welcome. And just so that everybody knows, they're actually in Nick's record shop, so don't go breaking in tonight because there's 3 people there. So, guys, you are in Gettysburg, and being an Englishman, we don't get taught a lot of American history. So, who wants to be the historian for 5 minutes? And then tell us why Gettysburg is famous.
Sure. Gettysburg, very, very famous Civil War battle. Probably the most famous Civil War battle. Happened on July 1st through the 3rd of 1863 here in town. And it is also the site of Lincoln's famous Gettysburg Address. 7 years ago. Yes, that one happened here in Gettysburg. And because of the battle, because of the death, the pain, everything in this area, it has been a consistent hotspot for paranormal activity ever since. But yes, this was probably the most pivotal battle of the Civil War, and the Confederacy never came north of the Mason-Dixon line after July 1863, and it was the beginning of the downward slope to the end of the Civil War. Unfortunately, that took a couple more years to happen and a lot more dead Americans, but yeah.
You make it sound like you were there.
Yeah. Well, I wish.
I'm almost old enough.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so carry on. Sorry, John.
Go ahead. Well, I was just going to say it was. I'm from Arkansas originally, so I'm from the South, and being here in Gettysburg, it's like being on traitorous ground. No, it's fine. No, I'm a Unionist at heart. South is wrong. Let's get that out there. But no, coming from different places, and it seems like different people from all over are just kind of drawn to this place, and end up staying here. Yeah, they come to visit and they're like, I love this place. I want to retire there, or I want to be there, and then they just end up being here for the rest of their lives. So
that's cool. So it is on my bucket list, and when I do decide to come down, if I bring the team or not is another matter. But if I come down, I'll definitely pitch up with you guys and
please
show me the ropes, and I'll do some shoplifting in your store, Nick.
That's all right. You want to be the first.
So, guys, if you want to take it in turns, just like to explain how you really first got into the paranormal and what experiences you've had.
Yeah. I'll start off. So, as I always like to say, I'm the oldest member of the team. I have the gray in my beard. And I've been working in utilizing scientific experimentation basically for the past 30 years. I'm a scientist. I'm actually currently a science teacher. And I enjoy finding the truth, finding the answers, more than the spookiness. So when I go out and about, and I've been doing this for, like I said, 30 years, we started on the battlefield, using the battlefield as basically my background, or my backyard, I should say, for performing experiments and trying to capture, either spirit voices or video or photographs or that type of thing, and using all of our senses. And I got really into it. I had an experience as a teenager, and it struck me pretty hard, and I couldn't get over it, and then sort of became addicted to searching for the paranormal then. And what was great was a couple years ago when I was helping to do a trivia here in town. I've been living in Gettysburg for 30 years, and I met up with these guys, and it was a random kind of event almost that brought us all together. We were just talking one night about ghosts and history, and having a few laughs. We're all really good friends, and we decided let's do this thing. And one real quick story I'll give before I hand over to these guys. One of the very first events that we decided to get together and do, we just went to a few places in town that we were permitted to go to after dark. And the whole group got together, and we really didn't even have a name at that point, I don't think. And we really didn't have an idea of what we wanted to do. It was just more of, let's go do this. And Nick and I were standing next to each other, probably talking about American football or something like that at the time. And we looked up, and we saw this gentleman, and he was wearing a brown hat. It was like a nice brown hat, maybe like more like we might see like a cowboy hat here. And he had a brown jacket on, and he had brown slacks. And he was walking towards a part of the battlefield where you're not permitted to go after dark. And we were on the outskirts of that, on the right, the legal side. And he was going towards the illegal side. And Nick and I were really worried. We're like, this guy's going to go to a place he's not supposed to go. So the two of us hustled as fast as we can hustle up to go see him. And we looked, we turned, we could see about 30, 40 yards in all direction. This man completely disappeared. Our very first time out, literally as a group, and we saw a full body apparition. Now, I can go to tell you, in 30 plus years of doing this, I've only ever seen 3 full body apparitions. So to see it the very first time I was out with these guys was like a landmark, kind of put our flag in the ground and say, let's do this. We're going to do this. So
Yeah.
that was a big point for us. But yeah, I'm the longtime Gettysburg resident, and I enjoy living here. As Jordan said earlier, I came here and I don't ever want to leave. I fell in love with this town, and we got opportunities now to investigate and work with other groups, and it's phenomenal. And work with teams like yours, and it's just been a really great time. So,
Oh, that's cool.
that's my story.
I love that. And it's funny you should mention that, because we was in New York State weekend before last, and I saw my first apparition in a bedroom. Like,
Wow.
and it was actually like, what was it? Something sat on the bed, and then I saw this apparition. And it's like, you don't see as many as what people think.
Correct.
Yeah, it's not like every single investigation you go on, you see like people queuing up. That's not how it works.
Exactly. Yeah,
And
I like to remind people of that, because they think it's sort of like, if you go to a sporting event, you'll see a winner most likely, unless it's a tie. Or if you go to a concert, you're going to be entertained by the performers on stage. Well, when you do this, you don't know what to expect. There's no guarantee, like to your point, you're going to see, hear, smell, feel something. So
exactly.
That part of it, I think, makes it even more exciting for me, because you never know what's going to happen. So, all right, I'll let one of these guys jump in.
Okay.
All right. So I am initially from the Philadelphia area. I grew up there. I moved out to Gettysburg 5 years ago at this point. And the reason I moved out here is I fell in love with the paranormal in this town. I came out here on a family vacation when I was 12. I'm going to be 29 in a month. I came out here, family. We took one of the 800 ghost tours that's in the town, and there's a house on the other side of town from where we're at right now. That's now referred to as the Reynolds Death House, which General Reynolds was a Union general at the start of the battle. Day 1, he got shot by a Confederate sharpshooter, died almost instantly. The Union Army brought him back through town, thinking it would be safe, put him in that house, and ultimately just kind of sat there for the next 3 days. But that was one of the places that this certain company had access to. And the second place they took us to was right across the street from it, and it's right behind a gas station. It has no spookiness to it or anything like that. It was just a field hospital, which most of the town was at that time. We go in that Reynolds Death House, and maybe you smell cigar smoke, maybe you don't. It wasn't anything mind-blowing, and I was 12 at this point. I wasn't really super into it. I was a skeptic. I'm like, this is going to kind of be dumb. And then we go across the street to this just field. There's like 4 trees and just a big open grassy patch. And I remember the guy telling me, and everyone else, take pictures. Okay, I'll take pictures. So I have a digital camera, and I'm just snapping random pictures. And I remember the whole group was to the back right of me. And I'm taking pictures literally of the back of this gas station at this point. There's like 3 trees and then the back wall. And let me just go back and look through. And going through and, grass, and then next to this tree is a full-body Confederate soldier. I've never seen a clearer picture in the paranormal ever since. From that moment on, I was infatuated. Why did this happen? Why are they still here? Could this be fake? If it could be fake, how could it be fake? And I just kind of dove headfirst from there. And of course, at that point, everyone had desktop computers, so I uploaded the picture on the desktop computer. It's like, oh, I'm going to be safe. Well, the computer crashed. I don't have it anymore. I would cut my foot off to have that picture back. It was the again, I've never seen, and we've seen lots of pictures. They're on the internet. You can look them up. I've never seen one so clear. I mean, you can see the buckle on his pants, from the straps from his backpack, and he was kind of up a little bit, so it almost looked like he was on a horse, possibly, because you saw like his one leg hanging over something, and there was nothing underneath him. But it was as if he was sitting on a horse, and there's no horse there. And I remember showing it to the tour guide, and the tour guide had nothing to say. He was, that's a ghost. I go, oh, okay, cool. So, got it. Appreciate it.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, bud. Yep. Cheers.
Yeah. And another weird part of that night, I don't tell people this part as much. It was me, my mother, and my one brother. We were out, and his girlfriend at the time. And my mom was taking pictures as well. And she's always been a believer. And she's snapping pictures, and right after mine, and we were the only two up on this part of the field, she takes a picture back towards the street. And for some reason, and I've never seen a vehicle since, she has a picture of an army Jeep with the star on the front of it and everything. Like World War II era army, you see the green tint of it, but it's see-through. There was no cars on the street. So between those two things, it was, again, I'm like, this makes absolutely no sense. This is incredible. What is this? And then from there, I would come back here. This would be my go-to vacation destination, doing different investigations around town. Fell in love with the history shortly after that. So the town just kind of pulled me in every direction between the history and the paranormal. And it kind of like Jordan said, when you're here, it kind of pulls you in. And I don't know if it's because there's so much of that energy, but you don't want to leave. We talked about this on another podcast with somebody that one of our other team members that isn't here, Angela, Travis's girlfriend. It has even when you do live here and you go on vacation, you think, I want to get back to Gettysburg. It has a different feel to it.
Right.
So much so that, my life decision came down to, am I going to open up a second record store? I have one with my father outside of Philly. Or am I going to pursue music and move to Nashville? And it was such a strong enough pull that I'll just do music on the side, and I'm going to come out here. And I couldn't be more happy with that decision. Being able to do the things that we're all doing today, would never be able to do in any other town or city. It's different, and it's an incredible place. It really is. But this is where it all started for me, and then just different investigations all over the place from there.
That's cool. And like you say, it's such unfortunate that you lost that photograph, because that could have been like one of the main things moving forward.
That could have been used on any TV show you could ever think of paranormal wise, and it would hold up against anything anybody's ever seen. I've never seen such a clear photo. It's literally burned in my brain. I can see it to this day, and I'll never be able to not see it because of how clear and how vivid it was. And maybe that was, again, kind of the town's energy pulling me in. It was here's this, and you're going to be back in 10 years or whatever. And and it's weird that I've never actually gone back to that spot. I always say it all the time, like, oh, guys, we should go back just to that grassy patch by the gas station. And we've never done it, but one of these days we really should. And just because it was, it's where it all started. It's why.
It's just down the road, dude. You've got
I know. It's not. It's all, we're just busy. Between we're lucky enough when we formed this group, we formed it just as, again, we're just gonna investigate. Public places, and pay to do the public investigations. Then if we gain some traction and people reach out to us for help, we'd love to help people out. That was really the big thing, was we love to investigate together, and if we can help people, fantastic. And we ended up investigating the Jenny Wade house and the orphanage. And from there, one of the guys that works at that company saw us and saw how we investigated and what evidence we walked away with. And then we were kind of given an opportunity that, funny enough, when we first started, we said we wouldn't do. We never wanted to do like tours or anything like that, because you don't want to. Our whole thing was, there's so many tours in town, and people pay money for this, and you can't guarantee anything with paranormal. It's like fishing.
Yeah,
you could go out and you could sit there for 8 hours and see nothing. You could sit there for an hour, you could see the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
But this opportunity kind of just fell in our lap, where it wasn't tours. It was, hey, we like you guys like us, host our investigations. So now we're in those buildings twice a month hosting public investigations, and it's not so much the tour. It's, again, more of an investigation. And again, you set it out that, hey, we can't guarantee anything, so it kind of went against what we wanted, but at the same time, it was an opportunity that you couldn't pass up. And then from there, you've kind of gained a lot of traction from doing that, from being in front of. We usually, yeah.
And I think you've hit the nail on the head there, where you have to take up an opportunity.
Absolutely.
When it arrives. We actually got the opportunity to work with a film crew a few months ago, because I was the senior person on the team.
Yeah.
They wanted me to be part of the movie, 7-minute movie. So
sure.
I'm a historian at the Toronto Film Festival, talking about the paranormal.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and it's the opportunities that you cannot.
Yeah.
You can't pass them.
And from doing it, we have, lifelong friends with these people that work at this company now. And from working with them, we've gotten leads on different private investigations, and then other businesses here in town that we all go to, but since we work with them, it gives us more of a reputation.
Yeah.
And so then they reach out to us, and then these local restaurants are, hey, something's going bumping tonight, can you come out and check it out? When we would never have had that opportunity before. So
no, exactly.
It, even though initially wasn't like, hey, let's do tours, it was an opportunity that, again, it's kind of like the energy of the town just kind of fell in our lap. But it's been awesome. It really has.
That's pretty cool. Okay, let's hand over to Jordan. And we'll get Jordan's first experiences. Are you still awake, fella? See, the best comes last, right?
Yes, absolutely. We like to joke on here. There's Nick and his wife, Lindsay. There's Travis and his girlfriend, Angela. And then I'm the fifth wheel. That's where I'm at.
We'll just start calling you Sheldon Cooper, shall we?
Yeah. No, yeah. But my dad is an ordained minister. And so I did not grow up with paranormal, this whole ghost in it. No, not a part of my life. Never was growing up. And then I moved here to Gettysburg to get. I had a job here in Gettysburg, and then I moved here. And after I needed something to do in town, occupy my evenings or whatever. So I found that trivia that Travis was running, and I ended up showing there a couple of weeks, 2, 3, 4 weeks, and they figured I was turning into a regular. So they were like, hey, by the way, we do this whole ghost thing. Want to come along? And I'm like, yeah, I got nothing to do. Let's go out there and let's see what it is now. As it turns, I'm the big skeptic on the team. If there is something that happens, and it has a rational explanation, I'll be the first one to, hey, nope, that was, that's that over there, or that's that, we're looking for real evidence.
Yeah.
If we can debunk it, if we can, explain it, then we want to, because when we say we have evidence, we want it to be the genuine article. And through my experiences here at Black Lantern, I mean, I got to tell you, I've seen some things that I have no explanation for. We have a video on our Facebook page. You can go find it. And it was a private investigation that we did here in town. And we are on the first floor. We're looking up a set of steps to a landing. And on that landing, there's a red light from a REM pod. And out from the wall, you see this. It's a little kid. It's a little kid that runs left to right across the landing, out of a wall, right across the landing, into another wall. And clear as day. And when you see it, your mouth just, what in the world was that? There are no rational explanations for it. And I'm left with, hey, this is evidence. This is something that we have.
So, are you still a skeptic, or are you no longer a skeptic?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the most skeptical on the team, I suppose. It's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Am I a true skeptic that runs around and is like, no, none of this is real? No.
Yeah.
But as far as the team goes, I'm probably the most skeptical. Yeah.
And I think, to be honest, if you're involved with a paranormal investigation team and not a ghost hunting team, because there is a difference. People that do the investigating, you have to be skeptical to a certain extent, because you have to have that ability and that urge to debunk something if you can debunk it, and you're not just going to go, let's just tell people that's a ghost.
Yeah, to your point, there are plenty of people out there and that do, and we did not want to be the, oh my gosh, what was that? Did you hear?
Yeah.
No, we don't want to be. We want to actually find something, and we do our best. We do our best to figure out, okay, could this have been somebody whispering in the background? Could it have been,
yeah, exactly.
Whatever it may be. Now, as part of the group goes, I'm also the safety guy on the team. I keep everybody in check, make sure that we're not running off here. One of our most famous incidents is we were at the not the orphanage. What was that? The Apollo Theater in Martinsburg, West Virginia, and it was a 3-story structure. We're up on the 3rd floor, and we're sitting all in a line, and we're having like an EVP session. It's something we're all trying to be super quiet. We don't want to, interject ourselves into this recording. We're trying to find something there. And from our right front, we hear something. And then right in front of us, we hear something. And it sounds like high heels walking on a wood floor.
So
Everybody.
Travis. It was Travis, right?
Yes, yes, Travis. But it's a sound that everybody is fairly familiar with and has heard before. And you're like, and it clicks as, oh, that's what that is.
Yeah.
And the third sound that we heard was right behind us. Now, I'm sitting there, and I know our exit's to the left. That's where we came in. That's how we get out of here, is to the left. I just heard something into the right front, into the direct front, and right behind me. We're about to get surrounded. That's not a position I want to be in, not something I want to be a part of. And I just looked at everybody, and I said, it's time to go. We're going right now. And Travis and Nick are over here like, no, we're getting good stuff, and it's great. I'm like, we've got to go, and we're going now. And I don't know if it's that bad feeling in the pit of your stomach. It's that I have an inner voice that's telling you, hey, this is a better way to do it. Now, in the group, I was in the Marine Corps for 5 years, so. I don't know if that's military part of me that says, hey, getting surrounded is not a good thing. I don't know maybe it's a combination of all of that.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
It became time for me to say, we're all going, and we're going now. And when we got out of there to a safe place, everybody was like, what's going on? And I explained it to them, and I'm like, here's what I'm feeling and why I'm feeling this way. And when after they're like, oh my gosh, we were. And I'm like, yeah. And then Nick and Travis were like, we're going back up. And I'm like, no.
Yeah. and you're absolutely right, because I've got a background in the military, and emergency services, and you have kind of that sixth sense where if the shit's going to hit the fan, you need to, number one, get an escape route. Number two, have a plan A. Number three, have a plan B, etc., etc. And it's not just that the fact you've got to look after one person; you've got to look after everybody that's in that area. However, what you need to remember is you don't have to be the fastest runner; you just have to be fastest and the slowest.
I just have to be faster than Nick. That's all. I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. That works.
He's the sacrificial lamb. He just doesn't know it. Okay. So.
Okay.
Right.
Between you and me, won't tell anybody else. Okay. So, if we can get all three of you together again, I'd like to ask you some. Yeah, come on, Nick. Put your beer down, Nick. Come on.
Coming. Yes.
All right.
Yeah. Hear no, speak no, see no. Great. Okay. So, guys, the fact that you're actually in Gettysburg, are most of your investigations? I know you said, Nick, that you get a lot of investigations because of who you know and what you do, kind of thing. But is most of your investigations planned in Gettysburg, or do you go further afield?
So a lot of it's in Gettysburg. Let me put it that way. But it's not. We're not just strictly contained to Gettysburg. I mean, after this, we have to talk about setting up a date with somebody who's like 2.5 hours upstate from
Okay.
So it's not intentional. It just kind of happens that way. Because when you put your name out there in this town, it travels quickly, and then people pick up on it. But no, it's wherever.
We've had some really good opportunities to investigate some local restaurants and shops that we never went public with that information, but they reached out to us and were like, hey, we've had some employees not want to work here any longer, and we don't know what's going on, and they've seen things and heard things. Can you check it out just to make sure we don't have something bad here, that type of thing? So it's been kind of cool. We got some nice things out of some of those visits, pints of ice cream. So
all about payment.
Bonus. So, Travis, you mentioned about there being like an illegal area and a non-illegal area. What does that mean?
Yeah, sure. So
somebody that doesn't know.
Yep, exactly. So if you look at a map of the Gettysburg battlefield, all right, the town itself proper, the building we're in right now, this whole area was part of the battlefield as well. And then there are National Park Service, U.S. National Park Service official property that goes north of town, to the east and west a little bit, and then south of town is where the super popular, more battlefields are. The way this works is clearly they can't block the streets of Gettysburg at night. The Park Service can't do that. There's going to be clearly people who live in town to travel, even though we're in the battlefield technically. So the park grounds that the National Park Service runs and operates, beautifies and cuts the grass for, those areas at dusk, at sundown, you're not permitted to be on those battlefields anymore. So you have to wait until the next morning. And when I was younger, and it was I think it was around 5 or 6 years ago, they made a change. But when I was younger, you could be on the battlefield until 10 p.m., no matter what day of the week it was, which was great. So in the wintertime here, if it's October, November, December, my gosh, I could look for ghosts from 6 p.m. until 10 in the dark. It's free. You didn't have to pay to go to the battlefield. You still don't to this day. However, they've changed those rules a little bit, and we're good guys with that. Our team is not interested in breaking rules. We are not interested in going to places we shouldn't be. So we know when the Park Service sign says closed dusk to dawn, to stay away from that area. We could go up to that area, but we'll stay away from it. So that's all that was referring to.
Okay. So the fact that you guys are involved with Gettysburg locations, personal experience, do you find that there are particular hotspots? And if there are, do you have your favorites for all three of you?
Yeah, Jenny Wade and, the orphanage where we host those investigations, there was a really big reason we said yes. And the biggest reason is those are two of the most haunted locations probably on the East Coast of the United States. And we can't guarantee you anything, but I doubt we've ever come out of an investigation dry hole without nothing. There's always something happening at those places. every night that we've hosted an investigation, there's something happened.
I think there's been 2
Yeah.
out of the year and a half we've been doing it, and it's twice a month where we walked away with, because we do the whole kit and caboodle, we'll set up the whole security cameras and everything, and I'll go back and watch it and recorders and everything. And anything we get, we tell our guests, hey, check our Facebook, TikTok, anything like that, whatever we have. 2-3 weeks, it's a lot to go through. But if we have anything, we'll make sure we post that up on our social media. It reminds me I have to finish the orphanage from a couple weeks ago. But and out of, again, a year and a half, we've only had 2 investigations where we had absolutely nothing paranormal to post, whether it be visual, audio, a picture, anything.
However, those guests, though, went home with definitely experiences because there are things that happen, as you know, Lee. There are things that happen you don't always capture on video or audio. So we have, to Jordan's point, always experiences. For me, it's interesting because I've lived here so long. There's so, like, every building or even, store, home, hotel, whatever, that may have been here or was on the ground, obviously, during the battle, you may have a chance to have an experience here. It's pretty wild. Like, it's almost... I mean, if you're looking for it, you're looking for it. If you don't believe, you don't believe, and I get that. But if you're looking for it, it's almost difficult to not go to a place that has some experiences or someone's told a story about it. So for me, it's just the town itself proper it's just a fantastic place to go to look for spirits. The battlefield, again, during the hours you're permitted to go there. There's a few hot spots down by Devil's Den. There's a place called the Valley of Death. I've always had really good experiences there. And then there's another spot between what's called Devil's Den and the wheat field. I used to always go out there and I would take my equipment and I would just try things. I would just ask questions and see what worked. And it was a really great, again, experimental ground for me just to practice things on. So those were kind of the popular places for me.
Yeah, and go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just, I would probably second right off of Travis Jenny Wade and the Orphanage, again, like Jordan said, it's one of the main reasons he said yes is getting access to those buildings on a consistent basis. But you never know what you're going to get here in town. I mean, obviously there's hot spots, again, Devil's Den, and there's certain buildings, again, Orphanage, Jenny Wade, but I mean, I've walked the streets at 2 a.m. and heard children laughing, and there's nobody around. Like, so you never know. The whole town's, again, like Travis said, it's kind of a hot spot.
I mean, this store is right near the square of the town, and you've had experiences in the store.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, the basement of this store, the owner of this building during the battle hid 12 Confederates in the basement. The second floor was a field hospital.
We took a recorder up there and we asked, is this where you did the surgeries? Is this where you took care of the soldiers? Then there's a pause and you hear a female voice from very far away answer, yes. And that's second floor right here, this building.
Because if we get evidence, no matter what it is, and we're looking at some killer evidence from when we was in New York State a weekend ago that I might share with you later, but don't tell the rest of the team. But do you have, or are one of you the tech guy? So if you've got some evidence, will you check the audio on the video? Will you check it to make sure that it hasn't been tampered with? Do you do that kind of like process? Because like if I get a video, I will send it to a very good buddy of mine who's audio and video tech, and the first thing he does is check if it's been tampered with. Then he'll check to see if the audio's been added, and then he'll start breaking it down into like voice waves, and he'll go, "Okay, Lee, that's your voice wave, and this is the EVP," and he'll show me the voice wave, and it'll be completely different. Do you guys go that far into analyzing your evidence?
Do you remember we had the EVP in the orphanage, and we couldn't tell exactly. There was 2 female guests that had come out to the orphanage, and there's a place called the Pit, and we had a recorder in the Pit, and this was like a solitary confinement in the orphanage where the awful lady that worked there, Rosa Carmichael, would put these children in there and shackle them to the wall, and it was a really terrible story, and there were several children that died, and anyway, so people like to go into the Pit because it's pretty creepy anyway, and we occasionally would get some hits. And we had an audio recorder in there, and you could hear this faint something in the background. And I actually took it as an audio guy. That's one of the other things I do. And Nick's a singer, and I'm a musician, and so I took the file and I put some filters on it and gates, noise gates, as you would if you were recording drummers, and like making sure the hi-hat doesn't like bleed into the bass drum. And I put those noise gates on there, and we were able to cut out everything, all the talking from the two ladies that were in the space, and you hear this voice that's above all that. It's a male, and it says, "Shut the door." And we were able to do that to rule out like every single. So that was pretty cool. The other thing, and I'll let these guys talk about it a little bit more if they want to, but there's 5 people on the team. And that's great, an odd number, because we put all of our evidence up to a vote. And if one of us hears sort of something and we share it with everybody else to say, what do you hear? And then we all take turns listening, or we all take turns looking at the video. And if we can't come to an agreement, majority rule, we just kind of toss it to the side and we say, okay, we'll keep that in the back burner. The last part of that I want to say is as a scientist, I debunk or try to debunk as much as I can everything. And I actually had an experience, or I thought I did, and again in the basement of the Jenny Wade, the orphanage, right outside of the pit. And I was with 2 guests, a husband and wife, and they were looking at the wall, which is a stone wall down there, and they had their flashlight up, and we saw like the shadow that looked like a boy running along the wall, and I was like, this is great. I gasped, and I was so excited. We got something. This is great. And then she turned and it ran back where it came from. I'm like, I cannot believe what I'm seeing. Well, I had it all in video. And I always tell people this. Could I have shared that video and claimed to have the greatest ghost capture ever? Sure. But the more I analyzed the video, I realized she had a K2 meter in front of her, and she had her flashlight back here at the back. And the K2 was creating the shadow, and every time she turned, it was when this thing moved, right? So we do our due diligence, right, to make sure, because I realized, now, unfortunately, that lady was pretty excited. She thought we had something for real, and I had to give her the bad news later. But, that's the lesson learned there. Like, the other lesson...
Yeah.
The other lesson,
carry on, sorry.
I was going to say, the other point I'm going to make, a lesson learned, is that a lot of the REM pods that we have will be triggered by using our walkie-talkies. And we will use a walkie often, when we're in the Jenny Wade house especially, to communicate, like if we're on the first floor, your steps above us, we're like, hey, who's upstairs, that type of thing. Or make sure if there's any safety issues, we will call in and let each other know. But every time you trigger that call button on the walkie, it makes the REM pod go off.
Yeah.
And we spent, I don't know, I was in your shop one night, I spent like a half hour to an hour trying to find a frequency that didn't do it, and all of them did it. And then we found out from talking to some people that unfortunately there are some tours that know this information. They'll give their clients the REM pods, then they'll drive up and down the street hitting the walkie-talkie, and then they'll fake the evidence inside, which we will never do. So lessons like that we've learned by doing this a little bit, like, I can see. And we debunk as much as we can debunk. That's our thing.
And
that's it.
Me and Travis both have people in our family that work either, like mine works in the news, so he's a producer, so he video evidence and stuff like that. We've sent him things, and he's been able to break it down. Travis, he has a family member that, again, does editing and things like that, that we've been able to, again, send to her, and she's been able to then send back to us and like, hey, this is, again, that was just a light on the wall, or this is, let's slow it down, and now you see arms and legs. So, to what you're saying, to a point, I guess, to the best of our ability, to what we have and what we know. Again, Travis being an audio guy, Travis has broken things down into sound waves and everything like that, so we've been able to see who's saying what. And then video-wise, again, we do the best we can personally, and then if we have to reach out, we're lucky enough to have those 2 connections that have definitely helped out for sure.
And that's part of a team's due diligence.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You have to go through this rigmarole of analysing it and breaking it down to prove what you've got is genuine. Yeah. Now, I know people use K2s, but I despise a K2 simply because it can be manipulated in so many ways. Like, my go-to is a tri-field because it's much more of a technical device. And And when we go to investigations, we will also do we'll do the EMF checks, we'll do the black mold checks, we'll do all of the radiation, just to rule out or to minimize any false positives that we get. And that's important for genuine teams. There's so many teams out there and so many TV shows, and they will be off screen with a walkie-talkie, and you've got REM pods dancing around, and it's like, God, just stop, because you're giving us all the decent teams a bad name.
Yep.
Right. Exactly.
And one thing that my wife always says is, like, whenever there's a picture of a cryptid, it's like, quick, put your camera to blurry.
Right.
and like you say, you've got to be that. You've got to scrutinize it that much for you to be taken seriously.
Correct.
Absolutely.
So do you guys prepare for investigations in any way? Because I know some parts of the US can be a little bit more religious than others.
Yep.
So do you guys do any kind of protection or anything before, or do you cleanse yourself afterwards or anything like that?
So, I mean, the only thing we really, because everyone in the group has obviously their own religious beliefs. And some are much more religious than others, and then, the ones that maybe aren't as religious, we still have to sit there and think, well, how does this happen if there isn't a religion? So there's a lot of questions and things that we ask each other. Protection-wise, the farthest I think we really ever go is the two girls, and they're big into the stones and things like that, so they know which ones have the protection properties and things like that. So every once in a while we'll wear those. I mean, this is one that I have because of it. Do I fully believe it? I don't know, but I wear it, and then the main thing, I mean, we've never missed this, and I think I missed it once and ended up driving back to do it, is literally state before we leave, we appreciate you guys, whoever's been here, whether you're human, non-human, demonic, a child, doesn't matter. Appreciate you talking with us, but you're not allowed to follow us. And so far, knock on wood, it's been pretty good.
It's been effective.
And so that's kind of been our protection per se. Again, just because I think it'd be very hard for all five of us to get on the same page for a religious type of protection. Just because
we all do it our own little way.
Right.
I mean, I know Angela, she does a lot of saging, and she does a lot of incense, and she does a lot of gemstones. I know Lindsay does a lot of those same exact things. I think the girls are really into it. I have my possession, my father, who passed away in 2016, he was a very religious man, and I have his cross that he used to have hanging, I remember, above his chair where he would smoke his cigarettes in the living room, and that was like, his place, his spot, and I have that in my possession. And I bring that with me to all of our investigations. I always keep it in my bag, just in case I ever feel uncomfortable or somebody else feels uncomfortable or something like that. We can bring that out. And the only time I ever actually brought it out to investigation, I decided, I don't know why, just on a whim, I sat it on the ledge above a fireplace. I just kept it there. And later on, at the end of the investigation, we're packing up, and I go to grab it from the fireplace, and it's not there. And I thought maybe somebody used it, it wouldn't be out of the question or ordinary for somebody to just grab it and use it, for their own personal reasons. And I asked everybody in the team, we don't know what you're talking about. Like, nobody knew I even placed it up there. Ended up finding it on the other side of the room. I think it was on like a couch.
It was on the couch, yep.
Arm of a couch. Mm-hmm. And it was broken. And so I put it back together again, said a few words, and I put it in my bag, and I'm like, it's going to stay in the bag. I don't know exactly what just happened, but I don't want to mess with whatever just happened. So, so I slept next to that night, just to be safe.
Okay. What about you, Nick? Sorry. I'm getting confused
Jordan,
now.
yeah.
Jordan, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. You look alike.
No,
you look alike.
I have a long history of personal faith, and that I have to lean back on. If anybody ever asks me for some assistance, I'm more than happy to help them out and pray over them, and be able to do that for my teammates. As far as I'm concerned, Yeah, just stay there. Don't come back with me, and we'll be fine.
Okay. Because it's really interesting that about your personal faith. Because one of my interviews a few weeks ago was a first responder that lived in Florida. He was also a pastor for his church, but he'd been a presenter on Project Afterlife.
Okay.
So talking about near-death experiences, and I'm really pushing his medical abilities compared to his religious beliefs. And it was some really interesting conversation because, like, okay, if someone's been dead for 20 minutes and they have a near-death experience or an out-of-body experience, and then they come back to life, yeah, what do you think about it from your medical point of view? What do you think about it from your religious point of view? And it's like it's like, wow. And it's like, it's a very difficult question to answer because it's all down to personal beliefs and personal like choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I always like asking that question because you always get so many different answers.
Mm-hmm.
So guys, if you had one piece of equipment that was your go-to for every single investigation, what would it be? And you can't say your guitar, Nick. That's not
It's a really good question.
For me, I'll just jump in.
Yeah.
For me, I like using a recorder. I want to use something that, even an old-fashioned style, one I would have used in college back in 1996, recorder that shouldn't be influenced by anything that is, there's no way to really fake it because we're collecting the data the way we would have collected in 1996 from a professor speaking at a university. And I'm an audio guy to begin with, and I trust my ears more than my eyes, and so that's where my go-to is. I love having those audio responses. I'm also a talker, if you can't tell, and I love having a conversation.
I've never noticed.
I love having a conversation. So that's, for my personals, if I had to go choose one to go on the island with, that's what I'm putting in my bag.
I guess me, just again, because it kind of started it for me, and it's kind of what I've always gone back to, is a camera. I mean, we spend a lot of money on different pieces of equipment, and we go out to these investigations, or even the public ones, and we lay everything out on the table, from the Boo Bears to the REM pods to the tri-fields and everything. And if I'm not watching the cameras or manning the cameras, and I'm out again investigating with whoever, my go-to thing is either I'm using the camera on my phone or I'm using a camera. It's always been my go-to. I mean, if I had a second one, it would definitely be a recorder. Even though having all these other things, it's like Travis said, they're the hardest to fake. You can manipulate. Yeah. Obviously, there's ways you can, but it's out of everything else, just going down to the bare bones basics of just visual and audio. If you're going to get something using those two, it's going to be, at least to me, it's going to be bigger than, a REM pod hit's cool, but if I have a picture of somebody standing in the doorway, I'd much rather that than the REM pod hit. Or what's your name? And they say Joe, or the K2 went off. So those kind of things, yeah.
I mean, as far as like equipment, I really enjoy. I like the millimeters, the things that have multiple displays for something. I'm getting an EVP or EMP spike. I'm getting an EMP spike and a temperature drop at the same time. I'm getting, there's things that are coinciding with each other that are reinforcing what you are seeing or what you are experiencing. Not, like you said, you can fool one piece of equipment. If you have something that's, coming at it from multiple angles and things of that nature, it's much more difficult to fool both of them at the same time. And
because we found out that after this last investigation, that as soon as we arrive, we need to have something recording, because we had a cabinet door open that we couldn't explain why it opened, and when we tried to debunk it, we could not debunk it, but we never had anything recording. Right. From now on in,
we were packing up at the Jenny Wade house, and he's got a table that gets basically pushed into him from nobody there, and we're like,
But
where's the recorder on this?
Right?
Where,
we were literally packing
we
up
were
the
literally
DVR. That
packing
was
it-
what the DVR sat on. So
yeah,
there's
like,
no.
yeah, like this is what we're packing it up. We're
But,
about to leave, and now we're getting all this.
And
But
one
yeah.
thing that I do find is it doesn't matter if you've been doing this for 1 year or 25 years, Travis. You're always learning something.
Oh,
You
yes.
never ever stop learning.
Yep.
So that leads me right on to the next question. What would you say has been the most positive incident, occurrence, or whatever that you guys can think of during your time investigating?
There was a private investigation that we did for someone who wanted us to come investigate their house. They had kids in the house.
Oh, that's where I was going.
Yeah, they had kids in the house, and they didn't know. It was like, is this thing dangerous? Is it after us? Is this something that, do we need to sell the house? Do we need to get out of here? Kind of thing. And we were able to go in there, and we were able to go, okay, it's not something that's coming after you. It's actually something that's wants to look over the kids and is like a protective, I don't know, protective spiritual force behind it. It's not disruptive, and you should actually, there's more like calming to the person that we were able to do this for, and set their mind at ease that the spirit that was there is it was her father.
Right.
It was her father, and that's what's
He was looking over his grandchildren.
yeah, he's looking over the grandkids, watching over them, taking care of them, and guardian angel. I don't know what you want to call it, but and that really you could. There was a palpable relief in her face, in her body. Just, it's like you could kind of sense that she'd been tense for a long time in that place, and now she didn't have to be anymore. And that was a really good feeling.
I love that. That's really cool. Travis has now got to think of something else.
So I stole mine. No, and I hope I'm not stealing yours. So there is a family that lives outside of town that is a large family. They have a farm, and we've been there now, 4 times, I think?
Yep.
2 investigations and 2 reveals. The most wonderful people you'll ever meet in your lifetime. They were fantastic, and they were super interested because they had a lot of things happening to a lot of people, and what was kind of like basically their story was that their grandchildren no longer wanted to come over to the house. They were too fearful to be in the house because so many things happened after dark, and they reached out to us and said, can you guys give us some answers? And we went and investigated, and we came back, and we had gotten a few things. We had some video things, we had some audio things, and we were pretty excited about it. Well, we went to do the reveal, and it wasn't just the 4 or 5 people we had originally met. I think there was probably 15 to 20 people there. And we had the whole family, all the way down to grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and everyone's sitting in this room together. And we had this entire audience, and Nick and I and Angela went and did the reveal. It was one of the most heartwarming things. They loved it. They loved that we could give them anything. They were so focused. There was no, you would think you got that many people, there's going to be some giggling, laughing, poking fun. None of that. I mean, this was very serious and heartwarming, and they loved it so much they invited us to come back. We did another investigation. It did turn out the best because we were in a barn with, I guess, a tin roof would be on that barn, and it was a significant rainstorm. And it was so loud. All of our audio was compromised. All of it. So we didn't capture any. Yeah. It was a wild night. We had a great time with them. We actually did a lot of teaching that night. There was a lot of the grandchildren were interested in what are you doing? How do you do this? How's this work? And we asked them to help us. And it was just, those are awesome. I mean, it's a wonderful, heartwarming, we got into this to do it to help people. And we were helping. In these 2 cases we just talked about, we were helping those people. Like, that felt great. That's what we like to do.
Those are 2 tough ones to follow.
If you want, you can just agree with what they both said, Nick, if you like.
Well, there's one last one. I mean, if I was going to say any, those would be the first 2. The last one, I mean, that would kind of fall into that feel-good kind of moment. We, a friend of ours had opened up a store like 2 towns over in New Oxford. And her father owned the building. Her father is the mayor. And she said, It was a cool shop. It was a female-owned, and it was all like female-owned business products. It was a cool shop. But she knew since we did this stuff, she sent us a message one day and said, "Hey, I have stuff continuing to fly off the shelf. Why? I don't know what this is. I don't like it. What is it? Can you maybe not have it happen?" And then it turned into, can we kind of spin it into like a, hey, maybe we can get some business out of it? Like, can we do like a Black Lantern comes and is going to investigate the store and we'll do like a meet and greet before? Yeah, sure, whatever. Again, meeting people is all great. Fantastic. So we did the before event. There was a decent turnout. But in that, and we had no idea beforehand, the family that previously lived in that house had come out. The mother had passed away in the house. The father didn't. And then they had a couple animals pass away. But I guess they heard that, hey, our old house, or where Mom used to live, they're going to do some investigating. Let's go out and, again, do the meet and greet thing and talk and, find out if they're going to find anything. So they come out, and they were there. We were with them for a while, and it was great. There was the big group of people, and then it got pretty small, and it was just us and them. And we were going over everything. They were telling us stories, and they were, for sure, you're going to get our mom. Our mom is here 1,000%. She's here. We just want to know if she's happy. And it was emotional, because I don't remember I don't believe it was a recent death. But again, when you're talking about death, and it's different for different people, they were emotional about it, understandably. And we actually did a little bit of investigating with them there. We didn't get anything with them physically investigating, but throughout the night, we got some things that led to, we didn't even get the mom. We actually got the dad. And it wasn't like in a bad way or anything like that. He was just kind of there, and it was more of a, why do you keep thinking she's here and I'm the one here? Like, and it...
I matter too.
Right. And I think giving them that evidence and saying, hey, we asked these questions, we did everything that we know how to do to get responses, and what came back was your father. Even though it wasn't what they expected, they still had a sense of joy and relief knowing that he's still around and nobody's in pain or anything like that. So it's probably third on the totem pole, but it was still a feel good moment, and it was to be able to help somebody out. Again, going into it, we thought we were just helping a friend out. We were going to try to figure out why books are flying off the shelf. I'm figuring we were going to get Civil War soldiers, because the town the Confederates marched through the town. So, maybe it's something like that. And lo and behold, it was no.
And I think what's important that all three of you said is, at the end of the day, we are there to help people.
Right.
We're not there to find the paranormal. We're there to help. So if someone's getting noises in their attic and we find out it's a rodent problem, we've still helped.
Absolutely.
If we go in there and they're hallucinating and we find that they've got a defective electrical item that's giving off high EMF, once you cured that and the hallucinations go,
yep,
we've helped them. And that is the objective of the exercise. It's not about going out there and finding spirits, even though that is a really cool thing to happen.
Sure. Right.
It's not the objective of the exercise. And I think that's important. So, guys, we are coming close towards the end of the podcast, but I've got one question for each of you. I can make it the same question to make it easier.
Whatever works for you, man.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, cheers, Nick. Yeah. Bucket list locations for three of you. Where would you like to go that you've not been?
So I knocked one of my bucket list off with my honeymoon. I just got married in October. Again, my wife, who's in the group, thank you.
Applause.
Because we're both into the paranormal, we actually used our honeymoon and we went to St. Augustine. So the St. Augustine Lighthouse was always a bucket list for me. Outside of that, Waverly Hills in Kentucky has kind of always been really high on my list. Penhurst was for a long time, but I've done it a couple times. I want to do it as a group Waverly Hills and Penhurst as Black Lantern are probably my two. That's a bucket list for sure. Yeah.
I'm gonna because we were just there. So we went to a para-convention, Paracon, at Penhurst, and I got to stand outside the buildings and look at them from the outside, but never actually went in. And so I've never been inside Penhurst to investigate. So I'm going to have to say, because it was pretty awesome being there, and so many people had so many stories, and everyone was asking, are you going in? What'd you see last night? And I'm like, we didn't go in. Terrible. So that's got to be, I think that's at the top of my bucket list right now, just because it was like walking up to the candy store as a child, but you're not allowed to buy any, and other kids are coming out with candy. That's what I felt like. So that's mine.
John.
Yeah, Penhurst, that ranks really high with me. I've always been more interested in like the towns and things of that nature. Savannah, Georgia is one that I really want to go. I've been down there before, and the willow trees that come across the roads and just create such a closed-in, awesome, the best way I can describe it is an antique atmosphere. And so to do some ghost hunting around Savannah, Georgia would be, that'd be pretty high.
Yeah.
He's also a big Savannah Bananas fan.
Savannah Bananas. Bananas.
You're going to have to get Lee. You'll have to give Lee some insight later.
You can't just leave it at that. You got to
The Savannah Bananas are the equivalent to the Harlem Globetrotters for baseball. It's fun, exciting, happening.
Hang on, Harlem Globetrotters basketball, but okay.
Yeah, but
okay. Moving on.
You could be a fan and catch a foul ball, and it's an out on the field. They have banana rules. It's great. It's a whole party.
It is fun.
A lot of the players do like backflips and things while they're actually playing the sport, and they make the play. Like it's these ridiculous trick shots and like really clever way to get the crowd into it. But they're really talented baseball players on top of it. So, but yeah,
I feel so much education coming this way.
Remember all those things about football? Never mind.
That's a me and Jordan conversation. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I will say one thing: if I can arrange to come down to you guys, to come down with the guys to come and see you, we'll definitely try and make it happen for sure.
Please,
love to have you. Love to have you.
Yeah, well. Yeah, as long as all three of you drink, that's all I'm bothered about.
I'm in.
Yeah. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, guys, I shan't keep you any longer for now, but again, thank you for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure. You have a great evening, all.
All right, thank you much.
Man. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.